Hi everyone, it's a beautiful day here in Brooklyn Heights. Really one of those happy to be alive days. Lots of kids going to school, a dog parade in Starbucks, the whole bit. Birds tweeting, flowers flowering. Anyway, big week for earnings. Halliburton tomorrow for oils. We've got Kinder, we've got Hess, we've got Exxon and Chevron at the end of the week. We've got plenty of other stuff. Q1 earnings is always insane. The good news though is you get it over quick. It becomes totally bewildering though, because there'll be so many reports this week, and that's not to mention, Microsoft, numerous other mega stocks are also reporting this week. On top of that, the debt ceiling negotiations bound to cause some drama, as well as, I don't even know what to say about Joe Biden rerunning for president, but I do think his age is a problem. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. All right. And then we've got 85 equilibrium oil, still kind of not even holding 85, which is disappointing. And as you know, we had sort of talked about an equilibrium in oil when the dollar was bouncing around for a good few months and oil was just doing nothing at 85. The banking crisis, we lost whatever it was, $7 pretty much over a weekend. And then of course, a couple of weeks later, OPEC put the $7 back. But here we are still at 85. And this is the time of year when we should be going up, because if we're not doing a lot better than we are by Memorial Day, historically, seasonally, the way I look at it is you tend to peak out at Memorial Day, hold that price through summer, and then fall away come Labor Day, and that's just basic seasonality. There's not enough here going on externally, whether it's people invading Ukraine or outrageous economic strength in China or other counter-seasonal potential drivers to the oil price, for us to really get excited here. And that's a concern, because it kind of feels like the oils are discounting 85, maybe 80, and that's kind of where we're at. And they're about to report, what will be mixed results, and particularly lower special dividends, probably higher capex or lower production, but not both. Does that make sense? It's not going to be a very pretty set of commentaries, I don't think, from the companies, because we know there's an inventory problem. And I sent you a note yesterday, second one in a week, excited about Canada for the very reason that they don't have that capex pressure and volume, capex upside pressure, volume downside pressure that we see in the US onshore names. Additionally, when you look at it on the Schlumberger side and the international side, Baker Hughes is a bit of a special situation, but Schlumberger, keeps talking about what a great cycle we're in, but it really isn't that visible in their earnings. And this pattern that you get from service companies, the super bullish outlook that never arrives in the earnings statement, continues, which is also disappointing. Finally, the oils have had a good couple of weeks actually off the kind of pressure that they were under, and now it feels like they're running out of steam. So we're looking for something to drive the oil price higher, and at the moment we've been highlighting the opposite, which is distillate markets. We sent you a long note on Thursday going through the weakness in distillate markets and all the concerns there are there. The one good news, the one bright spot, is the US gasoline market. China, I was surprised at a major client the other day when he said to him, wow, Chinese oil imports are enormous. And I'm like, yeah, but their oil exports are just about as enormous. There's only 100,000 barrels a day different. And he wasn't aware of that. I was like, yeah, that's kind of a big point. Other bright spots like India are not that big, Middle East is not that big, so the beasts at the margin are always US and China, and it'll be a long time before that changes. And in US we have what some people think is kind of dropping off a cliff economically, and in China, it's always looked like something that could go badly wrong with the scale of the property market in terms of the economy, the problems they have with debt. And then people now picking up on a point I made for years, which is about demography, and that's where India and the Middle East is so positive, because of the strong demography. But having said that, I very much doubt that Africa's political capital is strong enough to generate strong economic growth from their very powerful demography, unfortunately. So I guess for a beautiful day, I'm kind of bearish today, and just disappointed that, I haven't been calling the oil price very well, frankly. It hasn't been working the way I thought it would. And at the moment, we always say, and this is always the right call, that demand is the first principle. And I just don't think there's sufficient demand strength at the moment to drive this price a whole lot higher. And unfortunately, if that's the case, that then makes the OPEC cuts bearish. So if the OPEC cuts are into demand strength, they're obviously bullish. If the OPEC cuts are defending against demand weakness, then it's just spare capacity, and that becomes an overhang, and that's bearish. So that's that. I think we're still long. We love the trade into Canada, by the way. Over the next couple of years, there's no rush. A lot of clients agreeing with the negative refining story here. We talked about price to book being high for Valero. You know, the fact that when price to book is high and earnings are peaking, that you sell them. So, you know, I wish I could come up with a whole lot more positive stuff, but at the moment this week, it's hard to see why these earnings in this demand environment with this oil price is going to be great for this group. All right, have a great week.